Welcome to Cooking with Coaches, the first edition and probably the last. Today we will be preparing the Mooseknuckle turkey, especially for my friend Karen. Go Huskies. We have our ingredients together. We have one 12-pound turkey. 10 to 14 pounds is what it says on the package generally. I have removed the giblets from the front and the neck from the back, and this nuisance right here that is good for overcooking turkeys. I'm also going to take out the wire, and I'm going to remove this, the Pope's nose. And the reason it's called the Pope's nose is you put your two fingers on it like that, and just twist it right up. The vegetables we have are celery, carrots, and onions. This is a basic mirepoix. It's going to go in the bottom of our pan to hold the turkey up out of the juices so it gets nice and crisp. We have some seasonings. We have rosemary, sage, celery seed, pepper, salt, Italian seasonings, and what is about 1.5 sticks of butter. And you could save your giblets and everything to make your gravy with, but I just use good old-fashioned Swanson's low-sodium chicken broth because this is all about a quick, fast turkey that is delicious. So we're going to clear our vegetables up real quick. We want to just roughly peel our carrots. Most of these vegetables are going to cook down to either nothing, and they're not actually going to be part of the dish. Once again, they're just to hold the turkey up off the bottom of the pan. And I'm just using the back of my knife to scrape the skin off. This is something that some people don't agree with. You could use a peeler if you feel better. But I spend more time looking for a peeler than I do actually peeling carrots. And peels in the garbage. Now we're going to cut big chunks because these vegetables are going to have to cook for a good hour. And we want them to just really hold the turkey up off the bottom. It doesn't have to be fancy. They don't even have to be uniform. Once again, you can eat these vegetables, but I generally don't. They're just there for effect and for aromatics. Celery. I use a disposable pan to cook my turkeys in because I do so much cooking and cleaning. I don't like to wash dishes on my day off. We're just going to throw those vegetables in the bottom. We'll do 2 onions. The onions don't have to be pretty. They don't have to be small. So in this case, I'm just going to cut off the top and bottom ends, and it'll make peeling them a lot easier. That way you just take one layer off and the onions are peeled. I'm using sweet onions. You can use white, yellow, Bermuda, red, whatever makes you happy, whatever's cheaper, whatever you have in the cabinet. I'm just going to cut the onion in half. And then make large dice. Probably three cuts in each onion. And once again, into the pan. We'll just mix them around. So what we have is a nice base of vegetables that should be about 1 inch deep in the bottom of the pan. Now we have to carve the turkey. Cleaning the turkey is the most difficult part, and you can practice on a chicken, but it's best just to practice on a turkey. Just I guarantee you can do it. It looks frightening, but it's not really. You can also have a butcher do this. When you tell your butcher you'd like it done, you just tell them you want it shell, breastbone, and ribs removed, legs and wings on. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the inner carcass out, and we're going to leave our wings and these bones on. We're going to leave our thigh and leg bones on. And the best way to do that is to cut right here down the backbone on either side. And you can feel the backbone. You just want to cut that with a knife. Just on either side of the backbone. And just sort of spread that out a little bit. Now you can feel right in here, there's a blade bone. We want to get on the outside of that bone. That is the beginning of our wishbone on the other side of the turkey too. Then what I'm going to actually do is stand the turkey up, and I'm going to cut that backbone completely out. With a good sharp knife, go all the way through the thigh blade, through the backbone, on the other side of that wing bone, and then down the other side of the backbone the same way. Whole backbone out. If you're making stock, you can throw that in the stock. Unfortunately, this does cut into the oyster, which is, some people think, the best part of the turkey. Most people don't actually appreciate it, so I don't mind doing this so much. And then we have to pull out this inside, and that's actually a lot easier than you might think. You're just going to go riding the meat in between the meat and the bone all the way down. When you get to this part of the thigh, it gets a little tricky around the oysters. But all I'm doing is separating meat from bone. And each time I'll just kind of spread it out a little bit with my knife. When we get in here, it's where this arm attaches to the shell. And we get down here, it's where this leg attaches to this blade right here for the thigh. And this is a ball and socket joint right in here. You can see it start happening. All I'm going to do is put my knife down in that socket and wiggle it around a little bit, and it'll pop right out. You hear it snap. That's it popping out. And we're just going to cut that loose. Alright, now before we pull this away, we have to free all of our breast meat down in here. And we're just going to follow the bone. I use these fingers to pull it all away. Follow the bone. Now, the wing joint, same thing. We want to find that joint, which is right in here. And we just want to get our knife right in the middle of it and pop it free. Sometimes you have to coerce it. Pop that free. Cut this free. Now, here's where you can mess up the supreme of the carcass. You got to remember we're working actually on the front side of the turkey now, but from the back. So we want to just slowly pull away. This is the beginning of our wishbone right here. That's going to stay on.
Can't have a Thanksgiving turkey without a wishbone.
When was the last time you saw a food documentary where the cameraman makes their own comments?
First time for everything.
Alright, so now we've gotten down to this side of the turkey is all the way free except for the very end of the blade that is the breast. This is the back side of the breast. This is the supreme or the tenderloin. Now we're going to kind of push this back together, and we're going to do the other side exactly the same way. We're going to come down here And we're just going to follow down. Now all we've got is the keel or the blade of the turkey holding that meat on. You don't want to cut too much here because you want for presentation purposes, you want that turkey to be joined in the middle. If you're not careful here, you can cut the turkey apart. And there it is. That is the shell of the turkey. This is that blade bone. Here's the wishbone. Here's the two plates. You can see that little ball where the leg joint goes in. This is where the wing joint would join. Once again, this great stock material. Garbage. Now we have our deboned turkey, and if you can buy it like this, that's wonderful. The beauty of cooking it this way is when we cook it in the pan, we're going to cook it like this, nice and even, and you'll notice that the thigh is just as high as the breast. The wings are tucked in nicely, and this whole thing is about 2 inches thick instead of the 6 inches that it would go in the oven. Now at this point what I'll do is I'll just trim his collar a little bit. If there's any big lumps of fat somewhere, I'll trim them. Otherwise the turkey is cleaned at this point.